Hi, before this video starts, I want to preface the fact that I am not a professional artist. I am a person who draws cats for fun. I'm also not professional in the slightest. I will give, like, actual advice occasionally. Well, not occasionally. That's the entire point of the video. I will give actual advice, on, like, what I do, including showing, like, the process of how I draw cats. So it's not entirely out of substance, but don't come in expecting to find like a fully professional video. I'm mostly just messing around. But I'm hoping you'll find it helpful somehow. Yeah. Oh, fuck. Hello, chat. It is me, and assuming you already read the title of the video, you already know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna show you guys how I draw cats. Not like realistic cats like I used to do. More like, kind of like silly little not silly little cats, Wolf Walker style cats. If you could not tell, I don't have a script. So, I'm gonna be cutting out like a majority of what I say, because it's gonna be like partially me trying to focus on drawing. Part of it is gonna be me just giving advice, basically how I do it. This is not how this is not how I normally draw them. How I normally draw them is gonna be up on the screen in a second. I also draw them sort of like horror-ish, but those I will not be focusing on those. I am going to be focusing on the cats themselves. I'm not going to be focusing on the horror aspect. If you want to do that, all of my, like, almost all of my techniques are from Hello, Drogo. All of my techniques on that are from Pitch Carter. I think that's, I forgot that. I think that's how you pronounce his name. I'll leave links to those in the description if you want to know that. So, yeah, so, like, I think the most important thing to say with my art style is that it's heavily based off Wolf Walkers, so that's gonna be, like, the main basis here. So, I'm just gonna do, like, basic outlines with, like, how the wolves are done. With my brushes, I use a specific brush pack for Krita. Stipple brush pack. I use the, fuck, what's this one called? The drafter, and I use the liner hard liner, whatever you want to call it. I don't really care. Basically, all I can really say with this part is break it down into different shapes. So, I'm just gonna do a head here. Or this is sketch. And the thing is with Wolf Walkers, honestly, my main advice when it comes to drawing anything like remotely animal related, remember that they basically, I just think of it as just like humans with like really fucked up features. So the brow is still gonna connect up to the nose, and sometimes I do like this weird teardrop shape for the muzzles. You don't really have to do this part. I just think it helps, especially when it comes to like using the different layers in order to do so. All that really matters is that the brow line is still connected up to the muzzle, at least somehow. What are you doing? Hi, Gizmo. There's a real cat here. Hold on. Come here. You have anything to say to the camera? Got anything to say to the people? Do you? Nope. Okay. You want to leave. Sorry. And same thing. Same rule with the how I do eyes, is that, like, with usual eyes, usually it's like an eye shape apart between them. I don't usually sketch it out like this. This is just for, like, the sake of example. So let's say that the eye is, like, somewhere around here. So we got that eye. They're usually, like, this shape. They can vary. So, like, you can do, like, circle, that little guy. You can also do, oh, whoops. You can also do full-on triangle with that, or you can do like a circle. It's kind of cute too. kind of fucked up looking, but it's fine. You can do square, or at least square-ish. And you can do whatever eye shape you want. It doesn't really matter, as long as it's, like, within that area of... They're separated enough where it looks somewhat natural. Same with the other eye. The other eye doesn't have to be exact, it just has to look right. Because, again, this is the sketch, it's not like it really matters all that much. The ears. When it comes to, like, this specific style, the ears are usually, like... I usually have them, like, really exaggerated. But, again, you can have them in, like, any shape. So you can do, like, that. You can do round. Oh, that's not round enough. You can do, like, round, like they're a bear. Deer. It could be anything, honestly. We're not, like, obviously the style isn't, like, aiming for realism. When it comes to the face fur can be any shape. So I'm gonna do that little swoop thing. So the nose is right here, obviously. So just draw that little line. Because cats have that little, mark right where their lip is. So draw that. There you go. It's got a mouth. You can round out the muzzle as much as you want in the sketch. But yeah, there's a little head. This is turning out to be just squirrel flight. Oh my god. And the neck can be any real shape you want. I would recommend going with, like, the blocky shape like this. You can also make it thinner, depending on, like, the breed of cat that you're trying to do. And you can round it out using fur, like that. Or you can leave it blank. It entirely depends on what you're trying to do. So yeah, that is how I sketch out the heads, at least. Now for the bodies, it gets a little bit more complicated, because it shouldn't be that complicated, because, like, cats usually have, like, a bean body. But because we're not going for realism, it's more like, it could be, like I said, it could be basically any shape. I'm not really consistent on, like, which part of the body I start with. Like the lower top half, or the smaller top half. Shoulders can't be any width. I use rectangles personally. I feel like it's emulated the style a lot better. Rectangles, hexagons, whatever. With the specific, like, the medial part of the arm. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's the right term. It usually starts out thicker on the top, right there. And then thins out near the bottom. This doesn't need to be, like, consistent with, like, everything, but...
What do I know? I'm just the artist.
A lot of this is just freehanding it, so, like, literally, you can do basically whatever you want with this. That's the fun of it. Oh yeah, that reminds me. Another important factor about cats. Usually they're pretty stubby. They don't need to be stubby. A lot of mine that I draw, I like drawing really lanky. But generally that's the shape that they are. Paws are relatively simple. They're basically just like this shape, roughly. Usually they're that consistent, but they're usually not that big. What did I do? I mean, they can be that big. Like I said, it depends on the character. But usually they're not, so we're just gonna go for, like, roughly that. That looks right. Buddy, what are you doing to that box? Are you enjoying interrupting my recording, buddy? And the paw toes, it depends, like, really where they are entirely depends on their perspective, but usually it starts at this slant, regardless. The one detail about cats that I see a lot of people missing is the fact that cats have dew claws. Dew claws are basically the cat equivalent of thumbs, except they're not opposable, and they're used to help them in case they, like, start falling from, like, a really high space. Oh yeah, another detail, cats don't have really they don't really have collarbones, so their legs are pretty far together. But dew claws are usually, because they're also like thumbs, they're usually on the opposite side of the they're usually on the inside. So like if you take your hands and you put them like close together, your thumbs are gonna touch. That's where the dew claws are. Dew claws have basically the same logic, but usually I don't normally put dew claws anymore, but I still encourage you put them because it's a pretty good, it's a cool detail, and I don't see enough people do it, or at least they don't do it properly. Now the back legs are just like they're a bunch of like this rectangles. I don't actually know. I don't know how to describe this. Okay, now you have your back legs that hopefully look a lot better than mine, because this is a really bad sketch. This is a very, very bad sketch. Alright, for the tail, all I really ask is that you remember that the tail is the extension of the spine, so it's gonna come from their back, like right here. The shape of it doesn't really matter. Like I keep saying, I do incredibly, like, highly encourage that you're, like, unique with shapes. So, like, you can do, like, a little rabbit tail. That's not a good one. You can do, like, a little rabbit tail. For, like, a stub tail. You can do, like, a regular cat tail if you wanted to, but that's boring. You can do, like, a fox tail. You can do whatever. Like, in the end, it doesn't really matter. Haha, haha, get it? Get it? Okay, rule number 1, don't ever do what I'm doing. Actually, stop watching this tutorial in general. I don't know what I'm doing. God, that sucks. Okay, yeah, don't ever take my advice again. There you go. That's your tail. It probably will not end up looking like this, especially in the final project, but it's a sketch. It's a sketch. Okay, now it's for the not so fun part, which is actually lining the damn thing. Like I said, I use a specific kind of brush that progressively gets closer and closer depending on how hard down I press the pen. Technically whatever pen you use doesn't really matter. You can use something like this. You can use like this. You can use a pencil, but I wouldn't really recommend it because this was already kind of a charcoal material. But I guess that also doesn't really matter. It depends on like what you use for the sketch. I just say use pens that are not incredibly close to your sketch, because that will kind of get it confused. This is already a pretty muddy picture. I don't have anything to add for the lining. You just line it. Oh yeah, one more thing. You can get rid of like this little notch thing if you want to. It makes it look a little bit less like dog-like, but that's up to you. I usually don't. Just because for me it's nice to have like something connected to, so I can have something I can like keep the brow line connected to keep it consistent when changing expressions. And with belly fur, I'll sometimes just like go off of like what the chest fur has already. Usually that helps. Usually I'll just like ignore it entirely, like I did with nines. I mean, I guess it doesn't really matter unless you're like going for like a really specific consistency. But I mean, that's what I do personally. And yeah, here's your cat. Yeah, it's how Saw you cat. Yeah. This character's never seen the light of day after this.